Fragments of Silicon promises not to make any important political statements.
All right, welcome to another installment of Fragments of Silicon. I'm your host, Adam. Joining as always are Petty and Galax. Right, let us get to the news. Petty, why don't you start us off this week?
It's been, I don't want to say quiet because Soul's been rambunctious, but there's not been any, super big events happening for me. We did give Soul his first flea treatment today, though, and he seems to be doing okay. I guess he had more fleas than we thought, and the way this medicine works is it basically makes the fleas want to bite more because then they get the medicine and it kills them. So he was freaking out a little bit after that, but I think a lot of the fleas have died off enough that he's kind of chill. He did have to get a mini bath today because we flea treat all the cats together, and he decided to jump on my mom's male cat Reed right on the spot where the flea medicine was. So we had to basically wipe him down to make sure he didn't accidentally, lick it. So that was a time. I guess just before we started recording, you tried to run off with my mouse, but it is wired to my computer. So luckily, it seems to not be broken at least, so that's good, because I do not have the money for a new mouse right now. I do have a dentist appointment. Basically our off week, the 26th, to get my tooth fixed. Well, finish the root canal. So that's going to be a time. As far as gaming goes, I know the Time Stranger demo is out, I believe, but I'm staying away from it currently because I want to stream that since it's the first part of the game. And we're gonna see about doing that after we finish Digimon Dusk, which I'm currently working on power leveling an end game team so we can just plow through the last 3 story missions and call it good. So that's gonna be fun. And I think that's all from me.
All right, that means Galax, you're up.
Well, my sister and her baby are up here visiting for a few days. So I got to give the the present for the baby's birthday. Work has been going fine, but the parking situation hasn't been great for the last several days, and I've really been noticing that we seem to have a designated, leak in the gutter that's right specifically above our door. So that's been a little bit annoying, but otherwise it's been fine.
Mm.
Um, and yeah, not too much going on in video games, mostly continuing to beat up Blue Fire goldfish.
Okay, then. Let's see. Then it's my go. Yeah. It's actually been fairly busy. In between preparing for, well, not just my brother's arrival in a couple of weeks, but that's turned into something of a full-blown family reunion, due to some other family members that have decided to come in because, well, once again, the first time my older brother has been in this country in a decade. So, it's the very rare opportunity for these family members to see him as well. Yeah. So all that's being worked out, and still having to take care of my mother. The infection itself is uh, pretty much cleared up, but it for lack of a better term, the after effects are still there, i.e., her foot's still weak.
Mm.
And not just from the lack of use, but the infection itself. The body's still hurting. And in some cases that can be permanent.
Yeah.
Like,
Especially depending on how much nerve damage was done by the infection.
right. Basically seeing where things lie there for the next couple of weeks. Because that's the thing I'm most concerned about. Not the the infection's very much under control and such. But doctor's orders are still to stay off the foot as much as possible. So, believe me, it's not fun having to drive her around and stuff like that, but it's what needs to be done. So, anyway, outside of that, I finally managed to I got to the doctor's the other day to, get my blood work test results, and unusual and unexpected results in that apparently I have too much calcium in my body. Apparently it's called hypercalcemia or something like that. I'm probably mispronouncing that, but I didn't take Greek or Latin. No, I don't really care right now which language that comes from. But the point is, need to cut back on the eating of the cheese. Also, there are ketones in the urine right now. With those, short explanation, there's protein there, which is a thing that isn't supposed to happen. And the root cause of that is manifold. Anything from, the chronic condition I have to kidney failure. The doctor thinks I need to drink more water, which is a reversal from a couple of years ago when I was drinking too much water. But the point is, it's right now something to just keep an eye on. He was asking if I saw any signs of infection. I said no. Point is, I don't think I'm in stage 3 kidney failure. Plus, that's the kind of that's the kind of thing that would actually take a few urine tests to determine. I think at least 3. It's been a while since I read up on this stuff. But once again, I don't. I'm not exhibiting any other symptoms, so it's probably just a bit of, I don't want to say dehydration, but something related to not getting enough water. Otherwise, everything is pretty good. Like, better than I was expecting on those levels. So basically, it's just cut back on a few things and come back in 3 months. Although that's in the middle of December, we'll see if that transpires, because December tends to be fairly busy. Like,
Boy, do
anyway,
I know.
Let's see. In gaming news, completed Grow Home, I think. I can
The
never
opposite
remember
of whatever I was playing.
Yeah. Yeah. No, Grow Up. I can never get these two straight.
I think that's partly why it was a shelved Ubisoft franchise.
Not really. It was an experiment that Reflections wanted to do. It really wasn't set up to be a franchise. That is something that Ubisoft used to do about 10 years ago. They actually allowed their studios to occasionally experiment with smaller projects. This is how we got Child of Light and that war game that they put out. Valiant Heroes or something like that. I don't remember the title. Not This War Is Mine.
I'm sure we could go find the list if we were really inclined.
Yeah, the point is, these weren't meant to be yearly annual franchises with the typical Ubisoft sandbox checklist attached to it. There were actual artistic experiments and expressions. This thing as well. So now I have moved over randomly to BioShock 2. The remastering. Didn't really give BioShock 2 a fair shake back in the day, mainly because I was really uninterested in seeing a follow-up to BioShock around the time I played the first one, because honestly, that was a complete story that didn't really need a sequel. And we'll see how that thought process holds up, I suppose. Anyway, so I think that'll about do it for news. So usually this is the point where we roll into the interview, but through unfortunate circumstance, now I did mention this one on Sunday, but unfortunately, between the gap between then and now, we had the guest this week cancel, and we had the guest next week cancel due to various factors. As I mentioned, Digital Eclipse is really fucking busy right now. Like, so they can't spare the manpower to do an interview, and honestly, I'm fine with shelving the. We're supposed to talk with our good friend Stephen Frost about the Mortal Kombat collection, but the thing is, they're still deep in work on that. I know they're actually having some problems on it. They're actually having some difficulties like emulating the arcade version of Mortal Kombat 4.
Yeah, that I remember the jankery that was that game. I can understand it'd be a bitch to get working on an emulator. It still doesn't work right now, even on just like regular home emulators.
Well, yeah, that's because it was using a very specialized arcade board that I think was used for either only that game or a few Midway games. It wasn't. It's a very it's never been cracked.
Yeah.
So, That's that's like where a lot of attention is right on that project. To say nothing else of wherever else manpower might be needed. Like to the point, this game doesn't have a release date right now, so this could be coming out this year. It could be coming out next year. Point is, I'm fine with it being tabled until like its release date is clearer. I told him as much. And next week's guest, honestly, random indie developer, the kind we get on the program all the time. They had to cancel because school obligations, apparently. So it is possible we might get a guest in the next week. That's the difference between canceling a few days and a week. Like sometimes the gap can be filled. But as the old axiom goes, the show must go on unless something really bad happens.
Right.
So this week, we are rolling out at least this video, probably another one, because this is only about 17 minutes. So we might have room for another.
Well, we do also have to just, topic of discussion, and that might fill the rest of the time.
Yeah, that is the other thing that's coming to mind here. So we'll probably err on the side of caution and just talk about this one. And what we have on display this week is generally considered to be the last of the great Nintendo Power promos. It's not actually true. In the sense that we haven't looked at all of them, but this is like one of the last major one. Because
we're looking at the cliff notes of the good ones for you guys, because not all of them were good.
Well, no, we didn't do the Banjo-Kazooie one, and we haven't done Majora's Mask. But the thing is, those are less interesting. But we'll get to those in due time. But this one is a bit more generalized. Because it's called Hot News 64 with a fucking Z on it.
Because naturally.
Because we need to show that we are hip and cool with the kids.
That made my skin crawl.
Look, this is why you substitute a Z for the S, okay? And this is what you did in like the year 2000 and thereabouts.
It's hip to be a regular quadrilateral.
Yeah. Like I said, it's about as lame as the 90s penchant for X, executioner with an X and extreme with an X. Just the X, let's drop the E. It's X everything because X's are cool. Or, dear God, the attempt to make leet speak cool. Remember that?
Yeah, I lived it.
Yeah. That was worse. Because at least these things were attempting to appeal to, the X Games Mountain Dew generation and all that. Leet speak comes from the fucking internet. And the internet of the mid-2000s. That's not where the cool people were then. So I'm not sure why you had that leaking out into the mainstream. Or at least attempting to. I think that's the reason why that didn't work. Arguably, none of this worked. But, getting back to the tape itself. So, another thing about the hot new 64 designation, outside of, the 64 noting Nintendo 64 stuff, it doesn't tell you what they're hyping up, does it? I'm like,
I mean, I
so
would
I'm
assume
here
it would
to
be something for the N64,
right.
if not the N64 itself, which it's a bit late for.
No, like it's hyping up 2 games. Now, what the big 2 games for the 1999 holiday season? You could probably guess what one is off the top of your head, because that's Donkey Kong 64. But interestingly enough, probably more interestingly enough, the other game they gave the big push to, Jet Force Gemini.
Hey, Jet Force Gemini was kind of a big deal at the time.
Well, they attempted to make it a big deal, but for
It was pretty
various
heavily
reasons,
promoted, at least.
I'm aware that like it got more promotion than say Blast Core. I'm like, its sales did not reflect that. Like, I don't know how well it sold, but it's generally considered to be a sales disappointment, and if not an outright flop, certainly an underperformer. And indeed, when it comes to the pantheon of Nintendo 64 rare games, it's among the more obscure and forgotten. Not completely undeservedly so, because I actually had Jet Force Gemini. That's the one I picked in 1999 to own. I rented Donkey Kong 64, and I don't regret that decision.
I player 2 to Jet Force Gemini quite a bit with a friend.
And yeah, Jet Force Gemini has issues. And we may get into that, but that's enough preamble. Let's get into the meat itself.
All Nintendo video games are rated by the Entertainment Software Ratings Board and carry one of the following age-appropriate ratings.
Ah,
For
yes, the
additional information on game
ESRB.
ratings, visit the ESRB at esrb.com.
EC rating?
Hmm?
Neither do I.
Welcome.
Another stark reminder that we are in the 90s.
I'm Steve Sobel, and this is a very special edition of Nintendo's
Bro
Hot
looks
News
hopped up
64,
on
the
something.
all-you-can-eat buffet of insider
Oh,
news on the
just
hottest
wait.
game system in history.
Is this where all the
Just
dressing
wait.
room
Let's be talking
quaaludes
about
went?
Wait for it.
N64. Right on. Right on. Now,
Oh,
everybody knows
Quaaludes
N64
don't do
just keeps
that.
getting bigger
Oh, no.
Quaaludes are
and
depressing.
more amazing.
Ah.
While the other guys are going like, hey, Nintendo, hey, can I be like you? Wait, hey, let me catch up. You want to go get a soda or something? Sorry, guys.
And
N64
there it is,
That's
part
very
one.
annoying.
games, and I'm here to prove it.
Yeah.
Keep watching, and you're going to get an insider look at the stealth game of the year.
oh,
The
fuck
outrageous
off,
new
buddy.
sci-fi adventure, Jet Force Gemini. You'll get an inside peek into the brain-shattering 3D world of Donkey Kong 64. Oh, don't crush me! And you're gonna get
I think
an
we just
in-your-face
learned
preview of
something that
more
we should
incredible
know.
new N64 titles than you can stuff into the pockets of those cargo pants you've been wearing for the last 4 days.
I think my
But
contemporary
first,
brains have already
you're
broken.
probably dying to
And it's
point
only,
out
what,
to me.
2 minutes in?
Like the
Yeah.
outside of the tape, like totally promise like hot tips and cool codes. Like, what up with that, Steve? Well, I'm here to provide.
Is brother
have so many-
okay?
Column at Nintendo.com.
Clearly he
Mr.
isn't.
Insider himself,
He just-
Dan.
Did his heart explode after taping?
Protect his secret identity.
That's not the body part I'm worried about. I'm still not over that giant monkey
Let's go to the
crushing thing.
emails. An N64 player who's currently watching
Sir, your
this
face
program
appears to be
writes,
blurred out.
Is it true that you're going
It's
to make an
actually
exception to
just
your
an
normal
N64
give out
filter.
codes on the internet? And how can I find the Triforce? Signed, Link 1. Well, Link 1, if you're the Link that Dan thinks you are, you should know
That's
better
bringing
than
back
Dan.
memories
But here's a hot
to a
tip for
certain
the Link
online
Zelda Ultimate
service.
time. As an adult, return to the Lost Woods with the Begoron sword equipped. Destroy the Lone Skull Kid with the Begoron sword, and you're gonna get a giant rupee worth 500 rupees. You can do that over and
I
over again.
believe
Actually, a good
that is
tip.
true.
But I'm not gonna be doing it.
Yeah.
Because that's the last time Dan's giving out any more codes. Unless I decide to give one for Star Wars Racer later in the videotape.
Ooh,
I want
guess
power over
that's
who
what's
lives
known
and
as
who
a
dies.
teaser. Okay, they're brave, they're buff, one of them barks, and they're out for justice. This galactic sci-fi adventure through mounds of disgusting aliens is a kaleidoscope of action, lighting, and special effects. And it is from Rare. That's right, Rare. The same guys that brought you GoldenEye, Game of the Year in '97, and Banjo-Kazooie, Action Game of the Year in '98.
That logo
So strap in,
generated
get
that
in,
kind
and
of
get
excitement
funky
back
as
in
Hot News 64 takes you deep
1999.
inside the splatter be splattered baddest bugs in the universe, science fiction action game of the century. You guys want to see this? Well, here it is. The bugs are coming, and it's not.
The question is, how many lines of cocaine did he take for this? My bet is 3 lines.
I'm seriously wondering if Bro's fucking heart, kidneys, liver, all of that just didn't just explode on him.
It may be why he vanished off the face of the earth after this.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a pretty cinematic game for the N64. Unfortunately, it's still the N64, so you can see the limits.
Yeah.
Pretty stark.
If only Microsoft would let Rare out of the whatever mines they're dying in now to let them do an HD remaster of this.
So here's the thing.
HD
Apparently
remaster with added quality of life features.
Yeah, here's the thing. Apparently that's not really Microsoft, that's more Rare itself. Like, Rare doesn't want to work on its old games. But I actually understand. Like, they're already trapped enough under this legacy. This specific Nintendo 64 legacy. I understand why they don't want to get further buried under that. Especially since, the Rare of today is not the Rare of the N64 Golden Age.
I don't even think
Donkey
anybody
Kong.
from them is still at the company.
A few are, or at least were. Like, who knows now after the latest round of payoff? Like, I know, like, one of a senior of 30 years just left Rare, or was fired after Everwild got canceled.
Is that stirring? I'm so stirred, I'm bug chowder.
Bro, you're stirred another
I
way.
just saw a fraction of the more than 2 hours of
Also, that doesn't make sense.
proves that visually, the game has got it going on.
You know,
Okay, I know what you're thinking. You're thinking,
you,
Steve,
like,
what about
how
the play
much
action
stirring do you do for chowder?
Well, sitting with me behind the virtual news desk is Travis
Oh man,
Williams,
virtual
our
news
Jet
desk.
Force
We have
Gemini
one of those.
side expert from
It's made
Team
mahogany.
Nintendo. Welcome, Trav.
Digital mahogany.
We're proud to have you here. Now, what makes
Stop that.
Gemini so original? Talk to us, Trav. Take us inside.
Well, Jet Force Gemini is a game that follows in the
Stop
footsteps
trying to
of
make
very
inside a thing.
N64 as
Yeah, they literally tried that for like, what, 3 more years after
as a
this?
terrific near first-person
I guess
perspective
Jet
that
Force
really
Gemini
serves
was
the
kind of
full
a
game of the game.
relatively
And
unusual
with 120 stages,
genre
you're
for
gonna be there a
Nintendo.
while.
Wow. I don't know about you, but
I
I mean,
mean,
it still
it
had a lot
wasn't
of
it?
it still had a lot of
Definitely.
adventure
Are you
stuff in
sure?
it, but
Definitely.
they
Are
did
you
less
sure?
shooty games than the
Woohoo!
competition did.
Let's see some more.
It's, I guess, worth mentioning that, technically speaking, this is a game by Rare, as in it was published by Rare, though Nintendo still handled the distribution, the marketing, the everything else.
Ouch. Now who's
So I still don't know what Rare actually did in terms of publishing.
Lighting effects, dynamic reflections, an incredible 3D universe just exploding all around you.
Ugh, gross.
This is the dog, Lupus. He's a big
Rated T for teen in the West.
This is
Rated M over in
Got two
Japan,
shooting modes,
by the
rating
way.
and targeting.
Hmm.
Watch what happens here. Your character goes
I think a lot of that has to do with the
so your point of view
decapitation.
basically turns into
Okay,
first person.
admittedly,
There's
the
a-
turning your character transparent
Really gonna need this.
was awesome back in the day.
This is also a great multiplayer game. Here you've got a 2-person cooperative for Floyd the robot.
I mean,
to
it's
assist you with his
what you had to work
You've
with
also got some classic
the
single-player
limits of the
battles.
time. Not
Oh,
just
yeah.
the technology, but the control.
There's a
Yeah.
amazing rare graphics
Did this support the dual controller mode for twin stick aiming?
I don't think so.
It's heroic.
Not to my knowledge.
Woohoo! You weren't kidding. Woohoo! Now this game is rated T for teen. Well, don't just lie there snacking in a beanbag chair.
But yeah,
Go out
player
to
2 in the story mode
retailer
can
right now and reserve your
control a
own
little
copy of
droid
Jet
who can
Force
shoot, but doesn't have to
Gemini.
worry about anything
Wait,
else.
not this second. First, you want to see Ask
But
Dan
once
give
again,
out another free.
I am genuinely surprised that they got away with rating this T for teen over here.
Seriously,
Yeah.
I know they're
It is
bugs,
pretty
but
gory, but all the blood is
Dear
green.
Dan, please give me all the codes ever made for every game there
Also, I
ever
forget what
was,
happens
and bring them
with
all
the-
to my house as I'm grounded.
I know you can do some
Yes,
kind of
your
tribal
email.
abuse.
That's from Game Boy Bob.
Yeah, you can
Well, Bob,
kill them
just
and
to
cut off
spite
their heads.
you, Dan's going to give everyone else but you this insider tip for Mario Golf. It teaches all players.
But you need to
except
save them
Bob
all
how
to
access
finish the
hitting
game,
characters.
so...
To earn the right to play as Metal Mario, players must win a birdie badge on every hole on every course in tournament mode. Now there's a little incentive for you.
What
Okay,
advantage
that's
does
all.
Metal
No
Mario
more
even
games.
have at golf?
Especially not until Bob learns to use spell check.
I
Probably
guess
has magic.
clear so he can swing harder without
Racer in a few minutes.
going off balance.
Well,
Maybe?
he's Ask Dan, but he's not always Answer Dan. But then again, he's evil. Okay, he's big, he's bad, he's back, and he's still wearing that tie. Can you say full-on 3D adventure spectacular? Can you say expansion pack blow
No.
up mind-blowing graphics? Another future game of the year from Rare? How about just Kremlings? Looking bad for you guys.
I think he
mean,
did win
tell
a
us
few
you're out of there. You gone?
Game of the Year awards.
Hmm.
Like, Donkey Kong 64 was actually fairly highly praised when it came out. No, it's really its reputation kind of tarnished over time. When
Yeah, it's one of those
people
ones that
realized
didn't age well.
Yeah,
It was a really big and impressive 3D collectathon when they first came up with it, and then over time, people realized that a lot of the collectathoning was actually incredibly inconvenient.
and bloated. Like, this game is bloated. I don't think there's any dispute about that. Considering this game literally won records over how many collectibles it had, or they paid Guinness for.
I mean, that's how all Guinness records work, so...
I know. The thing that always got me about this game is it never looked all that much better than Banjo-Kazooie. I mean, like, the first Banjo-Kazooie.
Hmm.
Whoa. I need an expansion pack for my brain.
Yeah, you do.
Okay. This is
Which
Brian
one of us
from
said that?
Donkey Kong 64. Welcome, Brian.
It's nice to be here.
It's nice to have you. Where you been, man?
I've been hanging out in the jungle.
Oh, really? Kicking it out there.
Bro
with
has
DK?
been in the jungle, huh?
Party animal.
He
out
is a
there.
party animal. Say.
Oh, so he's from the Diddy Kong Racing
I'll
tape.
keep it here. Yeah. Okay. Good. Now, besides the astounding graphics, what gives DK64?
And of course, your requisite banana
Well,
joke, because
Donkey Kong 64 is the
I
first
think
game
that's
that
just
is expanded
law
by
when you're
Pokemon.
dealing with
Whatever
Donkey
pack you with
Kong.
the game, it's got 200 objectives, over 100 different moves, and he brought 4 friends along, so it's gonna be huge.
Wow. So it's the same old DK.
Only in 3D.
Wow. Cool, man. Do you want to see some more?
Absolutely.
So would I.
you know, memories. You
Yeah.
know, it's
Oh
memories.
God. Yeah. Do me a favor. Go woo woo
Like,
woo. Woo.
what?
Let's see some more.
Like,
So, Donkey and his pals.
like, there's a
get
reason
together,
why they don't
and
call it
they bring
Donkey
some
Kong
new friends.
Country.
Tiny,
Mhm.
Lanky, and Chunky. In each one of the enormous worlds.
Yeah,
there are
actually, the
areas that
textures in
only
this
one
game
of
are
them can
kind
access.
of
So you have to backtrack to
not
open up new
great
areas, and you have to use
in
their
a
special
way
Yeah.
tools to collect
that
keys and open new doors.
Cool.
compares badly to the way that
Basically, there are 5 ways to play
pre-rendered
each
stuff
level,
cheats
and
to
there are
look.
about 100 character moves. Here's Lanky with a cool
Well, and there's
Also-
also the whole reason this needed the expansion pack is there was a just debilitating memory leak that they couldn't fix.
Wow.
And sometimes you can even change forms to meet your next goal.
That's cool.
Still don't know
There's
why
also tons
Engard
of
is in this
minigames within
game.
the game for up to
Like,
4
he's
players.
so underutilized, even compared to
I mean, there's
Ramby.
boat races, barrel blasting, car racing, More fun than a barrel of, well, you know the saying.
No, I don't.
And then, how can I rave enough about the expansion pack's effect on the amazing 3D graphics from Rare? You have incredible real-time lighting effects, massive environments, outrageous bosses, just a whole texture quality.
The thing is, Banjo-Tooie managed to do all that without the expansion pack.
Yeah.
Characters and a staggering level of gameplay. Steve, this is just one giant gorilla of a game. What else can I say but DK64?
And as if all this wasn't enough, get this. The Donkey Kong Country TV show is coming to the Fox.
Oh, God.
You heard me. I said DKC-TV. You want more? Okay. Here's a little...
This is on the list, by the way.
I am aware.
Some
A little drum music, if you please. Get ready for the hippest tape of them all. Look out, you beauties. Here it
the 90s were a mistake.
Donkey Kong Country, Legend of the Crystal Coconut. It's the first feature-length 3D animated adventure based on the enormously popular Nintendo game that took an entire
That's a very specific accolade.
Yeah.
It's a search for the
I mean, it definitely is the best cartoon based off of the Donkey Kong Country series of video games.
It's also the only.
Available this November on video cassette.
That's the joke, yes.
Yes. All right.
I just want to make that clear.
Donkey Kong 64, the game, is rated E for everybody. It hits your favorite Nintendo retail hangout on November 24th.
If you narrow the options down to one, then whatever's left is automatically the best.
Okay. I mean, wait. Not yet. Okay.
Bro needs to take a couple more breaths.
Last chance to be Steve's friend. You want to be Steve's friend, don't you? Okay.
No, I don't, actually.
Racer.
Steve.
All right.
I think Steve is the dude in the orange shirt.
This basically will allow you to tweak all of the variables of Star Wars Episode 1 Racer. Now pay attention. Now you're going to have
Just
invincibility.
pause the tape.
You're going to be able to adjust the artificial intelligence level, edit pod racer statistics. Are you satisfied?
Thanks, Ask Dan. And good luck with that FBI witness protection program. We're all rooting for you. Now
Stop
remember,
making
you
jokes.
can
You're
check
not
out
good at it.
Nintendo's Code Bank website if you want more cool codes, and Dan can be reached at Nintendo.com, a great place to find out all the news about
I don't think that
everything
email works.
Okay, that's it for
I
this
wouldn't recommend
special
it.
edition of Nintendo
Yeah.
Hot News
Yeah.
64. Donkey Kong 64 stomps into town this November 24th. Jet Force Gemini splats into your favorite store on October 13th. And we'll see you next time. But I'm going to leave you with a preview of some of the incredible new games coming from Nintendo and their partners in play. Roll it, fellas.
Get it,
Traditional-
get it
Just think, back in the day, this was the closest thing we had to a Nintendo Direct.
Mm-hmm.
New Tetris is an underrated Tetris game.
Yeah.
Needs to come to Nintendo Classics. I'm sorry, golf just does not work with this music.
I forgot
StarCraft-
StarCraft 64 existed.
Most of the world did too. Sports ball. Whoops.
Pokemon Fever. There's a Duke Nukem 64? What?
Yes. They couldn't show any footage because Duke Nukem. 40 Winks. That
Toy
game
Story-
never got a.
Mm.
It actually came out some years ago as, I guess, technically homebrew, though. It's a situation.
Mm.
Okay, now you can go to the store. Go on, go to the store.
Eyeballs are cool, right?
No. Alrighty.
Honestly, the most entertaining / harrowing thing about this tape was Cocaine Steve here. Otherwise, it's a fairly run-of-the-mill hype package, if I'm being honest. Like, the actual games and information is not that unusual.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, as you guys pointed out, it feels the most modern of these packages.
Yeah.
It's just, yeah, this were this in the E3 presentation, our yellow shirted host would be an all-time meme.
Mm-hmm.
Like, as it is, he's most remembered for the Donkey Kong crushing thing.
Well, and being
Try
on
to,
enough
3
enough
guesses why.
amphetamines to kill a man.
Like, anyway, so yeah, Petty, when you can, play us to the next segment.
Yeah.
All right, so welcome to the topic of discussion. I suppose it's unavoidable that we would end up with this topic specifically because, it is the topic in the discourse right now. That is Silksong.
Mm-hmm.
It's been, it's been the topic, for a couple weeks now, but especially since it came out. And if you want to know where the discourse is at this particular moment in time, it made its most predictable turn. Anyone want to try to guess where that went? What road?
High sales.
Nope.
It sold a lot. I don't know.
I've heard some people complaining that it's too hard from people who have forgotten how Hollow Knight was. Not that it isn't slightly harder, but
There you go, and you're only half correct. It's
it
not
got a nerf
just
or a nerf patch, didn't it?
that was just announced today, I believe, or yesterday, within the very recently. But yeah, it's not just those who played through Hollow Knight. It's first timers.
Mm-hmm.
That's the big one.
yeah, no, it is a sequel, and if you have played
But-
Hollow Knight and done most of the stuff in it, you are probably equipped to handle most of it. But
Right,
these
but
are
that-
games that involve significant amounts of hard platforming. That was always a thing.
But the other thing is, a lot of people didn't know that going in because they weren't paying attention to the fact that this is a game. This is a sequel. Because they weren't hearing the Hollow Knight part. They were just hearing Silksong. That's how this game is is usually referred to, as Silksong, not its proper title, Hollow Knight Silksong.
Mm-hmm.
So they didn't really know or understand that this was the second game in the series. So, a lot of rude awakenings from what I've seen. And that's a big reason why they're introducing this nerf patch.
On the other hand, people who liked it are fairly pleased, I think.
For the most part, there do seem to be a few bosses that are giving people genuine confrontation.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that and the new diagonal slash. Because there is some platforming that requires it, and the angle is a little awkward.
Yeah, that's the big problem I had with Shovel Knight Spectre of Torment.
Mm-hmm.
The exact problem. Why I wasn't.
Ironically, I was fine with Spectre of Torment. The one I had trouble with was Plague of Shadows.
Well, yeah, Plague of Shadows was the worst expansion there, but I'm talking about the specific problem I had with Spectre of Torment. The diagonals were tad finicky. Yeah. But of course, because this game is difficult and noted for its difficulty, it's it's the difficulty accessibility conversation coming up for its usual cycle.
Which is fair. It is reasonable to request that the game have a mode that makes it easier to play for people who, a la Celeste, to
I'm not
have a way to accomplish stuff in the game if you can't quite handle the difficult things. Because this is, like I said, it's Hollow Knight introduced difficult stuff gradually, and a lot of the really difficult stuff isn't actually required unless you want to do extra content. But more of it is required in Silksong.
Right. I'm just so very tired of this conversation because it's always the same ring around. The game, it just changes with the game.
Mm-hmm.
And I get it. Like, it's a nuanced conversation with many sides to it. But I also think that it's a regional, there's also some regional stuff going on here. To wit, I certainly remember all of the, and still the periodic howling about Dark Souls needing a variable difficulty switch.
Mm-hmm.
And it still hasn't happened. Now, and I do think a big part of why that is because of the language barrier. Yeah. Also, because just those games are old now. So they're probably not going to go back and do extensive work on games that are, with the first one reaching 15 years old. Like, Elden Ring.
I thought Elden Ring had adaptive difficulty, but I've not really looked into that.
Okay,
Souls-like's really never been my...
Elden Ring is also less linear, so if you're having a hard time with something, it's easier to go around it.
Fair.
Right. But it is also important to remember adaptive difficulty is different than selectable difficulty.
Yeah, adaptive difficulty is when the game thinks it's too hard for you, it makes things easier. Selectable difficulty is when you think the game is too hard, you can make things easier.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a significant difference.
Yeah, and it's worth noting that selectable difficulty is considered to be a bit archaic in terms of accessibility features.
Right.
Like, accessibility features is like full-on invincibility and such.
Yeah, little brother mode, quote unquote.
I mean, selectable difficulty doesn't just necessarily mean selecting easy, medium, or hard. It can also mean like selecting whether various difficulty features are on or off, like in Celeste.
That is fair, but I'm just talking about the way it's been traditionally described. So it's certainly a conversation to have, and it's a conversation we're currently having on Silksong.
Mm-hmm.
And the solution here is a bit of an odd one, because they're doing the MMORPG thing right now. which is reducing the difficulty in certain areas. I'm assuming based off of the very loud feedback.
Possibly.
But
I definitely heard that. I mean, it's a zone-based Metroidvania. There are areas that are intentionally much more difficult than others.
right. The point is they're not introducing, first party Sony accessibility features in this game yet.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not sure they're ever going to do that because once again, the ethos of Hollow Knight is its difficulty.
Oh yeah, no.
Also,
honestly, it would be kind of disappointing if they made the game like flat out easier. Although, again, if they added certain selectable difficulty features, that wouldn't go amiss.
Mm-hmm.
right. It's just it's a tiring conversation because it's a repetitive one. I understand the need to have it. I'm just wishing that we would not have it so often,
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
But I also understand that unlike, say, once again, a Sony first-party title or a Microsoft published title, Silksong is 3 guys and however many contractors they use.
Mm-hmm.
That's another repetitive conversation that I've been seeing more and more in the larger games discourse on social media. The amount of people that work on a game.
Mm-hmm.
Which in this case, yeah, it's not a lot.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah, it's not a lot, but contractors count.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
We address this on our program. When I ask people how many people work on it, I don't leave out collaborators. Hint, like when I ask about the music, because usually if there's an outside collaborator, it's there. Because, a lot of the video game makers aren't so good at the music making. Sometimes it happens, but not often. So, usually there's a composer friend lurking in the background, and that still counts as another person working on a project.
Yeah.
So, like if you've got outside contractors working on the game, that counts towards the head count.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's not 3 guys or 10 guys or 30 people. It's these
not that
people.
I have any particular evidence that there were any, but it's not uncommon for there to be.
No, but I'm saying this is where the conversation. This is where the conversations have been going on social media. Like Claire Obscure struck a nerve by Jeff Keighley's notion that 30 people worked on it. And people, a lot of people were calling foul because of, what about the contractors, the temps, the outsourcing localizations and stuff like that.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, so Silksong being the it game right now is getting caught up in a lot of the larger meta narratives.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't be surprised if somewhere somebody was screaming about the woke.
Those people should not be allowed to have a voice.
Yeah, I think that's kind of. Well, I also think why that particular conversation has died down, because when you scream that at everything, it really does mean nothing. Like, they have the same reaction all of the fucking time. By the way, at time of recording, certain actual real life events have occurred, and kind of seeing some of the same patterns playing out.
Mm-hmm.
All I'll say in that direction. But, you know, they would be screaming about this game being woke because it stars a female bug, and, you know, anything with...
As if you can even frickin' tell by looking.
Yeah.
But yes.
The only reason why people know that they are female is because from the original Hollow Knight.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
If this is your first time experiencing this, you'd think this is a dude in a cloak.
Right. Also, if you've been paying attention to the fan art, because, how do I put this? Fan artists are going to do what fan artists are going to do to a female character. No matter how abstract. I don't want to. This isn't really part of the discourse. This is just part of the cycle of internet fan porn.
Yeah. Internet's a weird place.
Arguably, this is one of the least weird things about it. Because sticking giant tits onto things, not a new concept. About as old as dirt.
I'm aware.
And yes, those pictures of Hornet do exist.
Again, I am also aware.
That's not for you, that's for the audience.
Fair.
Jeez.
But they have shown up on various social media platforms because people are fucking weird.
Yes, but let's be honest. On balance, this is a weird thing to be drawing porn about.
Yeah.
Because, well, Hornet is not a sexy lady or even anything resembling human proportions. She's a bunch of shapes, put together here. If I'm being honest.
That ever stops people, but
no, it doesn't. I know this, but once again, it's an on-balance thing. It's the Rule 34 thing. If a thing exists, then the porn version of a thing exists. There really should be a Rule 34A or an addendum there, doubly so if the specimen appears in any way female. Because the lion's share of horny artists are straight guys.
Or straight guys willing to pay a lady to draw another lady.
Right. That kind of deal. Like, I'm not saying that's the actuality of it, but in, like, real terms, but that is what shows up.
Right.
Unless, So, there being horny pictures and not actual horns. I feel like that's an important designation with Hornet here because, well, look at her. She's got big actual horns on her head. Technically mask.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, and there are probably pictures that emphasize that kind of horniness. The internet is a very weird place. Like, as weird as you think the porn can get, it probably exists. I cannot... But once again, triply so when you got a weird character like this.
Indeed.
And, outside of that, as far as Silksong goes, I have not played it. I honestly have, at best, a muted interest in playing it because as good of as a game as Hollow Knight was, I didn't particularly enjoy it.
Cards on the table, we have reviewed the original Hollow Knight, and I think the general consensus was we weren't big fans.
Yeah, there are certain quality of life things that it does not have.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know
the mapping being dependent on accessories and stuff. Also, some of the anyway.
hated
I haven't played
hated
it recently, but I'm
Yeah,
planning on
hated
trying to
it.
get back to it.
I distinctly remember hating the mapping, and I know there is a huge contingent of Hollow Knight players that will defend that choice to the fucking death.
And
I
you
don't
are welcome
care.
to have.
It does give a cool
Yeah.
feel, kind of, but
Yeah.
it's also extremely inconvenient.
Yeah. You are welcome to like that choice, but we have made our peace that we don't like that choice.
My
Right.
opinions
It's also
may change over time. I don't know, but I do have
it's
things that I don't like.
Yeah, it's also we are spoiled for choice when it comes to Metroidvania. Like
Mhm.
there are so many games in this genre that are coming out.
How many did you have to decline last year for review?
I couldn't tell you. Like it's a genre that pops up for review or is extremely popular.
Mhm.
Like we've reviewed a whole bunch of them this year.
Yeah.
I
That's
think
why I mentioned declined, because there were so many.
Yeah. It's not the most
It's not as
overstuffed
bad
thing.
as it was, like, what, 3 or 4 years ago?
Because they do take a little bit of work, so
To make it good.
Well, they do take more work than, say, a roguelike, in the sense that you have to handcraft everything.
unless
I
you do
will say,
like Metroidvania, which is
don't
fucking common.
to an extent, but not as common as you'd think it is. Not as common as like a roguelike card battler or something like that,
Mhm.
or a top-down roguelike.
I blame
thing.
Balatro and Slay the Spire for that, though.
Yeah.
Slay the Spire. Balatro is too new, probably.
Yeah,
Not that people aren't trying to imitate it now, but
yeah, we're still probably like at least a year off from the glut of Balatro clones. Remember, it takes indie games about 2 to 3 years to get made.
Mhm.
If you're
Assuming you're
just
not in
based
an AI slop factory.
right, or some other circumstances, because we have had the very occasional guest that has the get it out in a year and a half philosophy. The Color Grave devs had that.
Mhm.
Yeah. So, like I said, not a lot of conversation about the game itself because, honestly, it's, just at a glance, it's more Hollow Knight.
Yeah.
I'm fighting the first boss right now.
Yeah.
I don't know
Like I
where
said,
I'm at right now, but I am fighting something.
I have not unlocked any kind of mapping functionality, so it's been entirely linear, practically.
Same.
Yeah.
Again, that's not something I'm a big fan of. I would like to know where I'm at.
But you have to find the map.
I'm aware.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Anyway, I think that'll about do it for this conversation. Because once again, I don't have much else to say about the game that isn't connected to the game itself, because I haven't played it, but I can gather the general idea of how it plays.
Yeah.
I have played Hollow Knight, and this did start out as Hollow Knight DLC. It just
I've talked about this. It's come up a lot in discussions about the delays in the time. They probably should have waited longer to announce the game, ideally, but they couldn't because they had to announce, why we weren't getting the Hornet Mode DLC that was promised in the Kickstarter and successfully backed too. And the reason was because, well, it kind of grew beyond its scope, so we made it its own thing. Surprise.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, people who backed at the level that would have gotten that did get it for free.
But what about the Wii U version?
Unfortunately, there's literally no way to distribute that at this point.
That's the joke.
Indeed. Anyway, so I think that'll about do it for this installment of Fragments of Silicon. So coming up on the week ahead, on Friday, September 12th, we'll be welcoming Lukansk of Juggler Games. I probably mispronounced that, but my tongue tends to fumble when it comes to Eastern European names. Anyway, Juggler Games. They are the developers of a few titles at this point, such as The Amazing American Circus, My Memory of Us, and Tarnished Blood. So look for that and more coming up on Friday. Let's see, on the Sunday reviews, we'll be having reviews of Funk of Titans, Moods, which is an acronym. I have no idea what that stands for. Hungry Meme. Meme, by the way, is spelled M-E-E-M, not the traditional M-E-M-E. There's probably an importance there as well. We'll see if the marketing stuff has the answers contained to these questions on Sunday. And finally, Islands and Trains. Now, this one I can definitely say it matches what it says on the tin. So
It contains at least one island and at least one train.
if you wish it to. More on that on Sunday. And we do have a new episode of MSP occurring in about a half an hour. Maybe a bit later because, well, we don't have a guest there either. Last minute cancellation. Unfortunate situation. The guest's dog had to be taken to the vet. We wish him well and hope to see him in late October. But until next time, I shall wish you good gaming.